One that I use the most. What kind of health do you want to portray to your children? So when your children get older, when you see them looking at mom and looking at daddy, what do you want their model of health to be? And to get their model of health where it needs to be, we need to get our own. Not to say the medications we can get off by getting weight off. The financial strains. How many people? Average bypass costs about $30,000, $40,000 now, and they're becoming much more common than they were in the past. How do you sleep? We'll go over that. Can't tell you how many people tell me, God, I cannot believe how well I sleep. I have patients that have gotten off of sleep apnea machines. Just that alone, they said they didn't care if they would ever lose another pound. They didn't have to wear that mask at night, and that was their main goal. After you eat, how do you feel? Do you feel like you can still work during the day, or are you looking for a shade tree, like they say, or are you tired, ready to sleep? And that's always ask people, what other diets have you tried? Because like Nikki said, they're out there and they're everywhere. And I always tell people, if I stand up and you go to a crowd and I say, I have a pill, or I have a shake, or I have a drink, right here, you do one a day and it will make you healthy and lose weight, and guaranteed. Unfortunately, a lot of people in today's society want to pull out their wallet. They shouldn't tell you that you're always a fool. And that's kind of where everything is promoted now, on how easy it is, how fast it is, and having to put in the work. And this is more what we call about how to create a healthier you. You notice I don't say just a skinnier you. This goes a lot, what we promote goes a lot further than just what your shape is. I like to put this up here. This is her before and after. Like I said, she was my second client. Her before and after, her triglycerides from 345 down to 140. This is a 7-month transformation right here. And I always like to put it because, and also I like the after picture showing what our girls are in it. Because that's really one of our main driving factors why we did this. So she came from sedentary, no activity, body mass index of over 36 to a body mass index of 25, winning the American Heart Association Lifestyle Change Award, and a 7-month transformation. And I must say, we owe, don't get me wrong, she has a lot of dedication and put in her work, but we owe a lot to this program. I always like to start off, people want to say the first thing on a program, what does it work? And like she said, who's done it before? So I always put a few in here. This was my other client. This was my third client. Red shirt on the left, that's her in the middle on the right. So from 170 down to 140, that was a 4 or 5 month transformation. A lot of y'all know this girl, she lives in this town. I'm sure y'all know Andrea. Andrea, this was after having a baby, she did it with me. I don't have any statistics on what she lost, but you can look at the different person that she is. She lives in St. Martinville over here as well. She happens to be my cousin. Everybody says, look, all of these. Oh, these are all real young people. That's what this program is for. Look at Miss Mary. Miss Mary works at Lourdes in Lafayette with me, and you can just look most on the expression on her face. Yeah. 6-month transformation. She's never looked back. She started with a large 3 or 4 younger girls, and she outlasted all of them. She's the only one who has ultimately reached her goal. So it can be done. What I like to ask people, if you could have optimal health, would you want it? And what is your optimal health? My optimal health may be different from your optimal health. I have some clients, their goal is, I have one lady who wants to go shopping all day without getting winded. And that was her goal, and that was her why. And a lot in this program, we talk about finding your why. And why do you want to get healthy? Because I want to lose weight. But that's not why you want to get healthy. We know that comes with it, but let's truly talk about why. What is your optimal health? And through health coaching and going through the program and going through the textbook that comes with it, that's what you truly get to realize. That is going to be your motivation. Because most people to lose weight, they are conflict driven, not motivational driven. And what I mean by that is, I'm overweight, I have a conflict with myself. I need to lose weight, that's the conflict. So I'm going to go on this diet. Okay, I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. The conflict is over. So there's no conflict to make you stay on the right path. So what happens? You back off. And what happens next? Your weight comes back on. That's what we call conflict-driven goals. And this is more what we talk about. You want a motivational goal, what you truly want. I'll put in some brief statistics on this. I think a lot of people, they hear, oh yeah, the generalized population is becoming more unhealthy, more overweight, but a lot of people, it's kind of hard to grasp. Quick chart, this is 1988, this wasn't all that long ago. You look at the epidemic of obesity, you look at, in a sense, light blue, less than 10%, to red, greater than 30% of the population obese in these states. Let's jump ahead to 1998. That's 10 years. Everybody keep an eye on Louisiana, just which everybody tends to do. Let's jump ahead to 2008. Look at where we're moving. This is from 1980 to 2008 and 2010. And you look at what the red and orange portions, the majority of this, over 25 to over 30% of the population are overweight and obese. So I like to put these things up here to kind of show why we take this so seriously and what pushes us to try to get people healthy. And like Dr. Lucky said, our goal is we are on a mission to get Acadiana healthy. That's what our goal is. And we are going out and we are getting people to join us like Nikki, who share this passion and want to help people. Quick statistics, obesity alone is responsible for about 300,000 deaths a year in this country. 66% of Americans are overweight, and we're passing it down to our children as well. So that's something to think about. This third one, for the first time in American history, our coming generation has a chance of a shorter lifespan than the previous generation, even with the medical technology that we have. And of course, that gets into a life quantity versus quality thing as well, which going through the program you get to learn about. Since the 1980s, our caloric intake has increased, and at the rate we're going now, 90% of us will be overweight by the year 2032. Now that's based on what the statistical increase has been. Currently, 90% of the population is considered non-sick. People want to know, what does non-sick mean? Well, I'm not sick. Okay, I weigh 350 pounds. Well, I'm not sick. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have high cholesterol. But just because you don't now, what we talk about, what you might be 10 years down the road, and that's what we consider non-sick. Average adult, this is something to keep in mind, has 40 billion adipose fat cells for storage. Well, doesn't that just make us feel better? So that's something to keep in mind, and through the program you learn about what your body does with excess sugar and excess calories. It's stored to fat, and chemically that fat will never be, it's very hard to convert that back to energy, which what the program works on. Average serving size today in a restaurant is 8 times bigger than what the FDA recommends. And we can go to any restaurant and get a seafood platter and see what we mean by that. You get something that a table of 6 could eat off of. In the 1970s, Americans spent $6 billion a year on fast food. Today, $130 billion just on fast food. 85% of people who go on a quote diet, and you notice we will never use the word, this is a diet, without any type of behavioral support, they will fail. That's, we have done, this program has had studies done on it at Johns Hopkins University, and that's where we get a lot of these statistics and these numbers from. The average person walking through, I'm going to start a diet, I'm going to try this, they have a 15% success rate without support. And then the average American today makes 200 choices related to a diet, whether it be you, your family, your kids, where you're going to go on the weekend. So imagine not having any support, not having support from a health coach and having to make these 200 choices on a day without the right tools to do so. And everybody wants to know, well, how did this happen? How did we get from, you look at 1988 to where we are today? This is the plainest idea how it happened. 10,000 years ago, we ate and we expended the exact same amount. And there's no gap in between. Of course, present day, you look where our calories in, calories out, and we get to see what's in the middle. Main reason, number one, food is no longer a rare commodity. We do not have to go outside and hunt down our antelope and chase it down and kill it and run from something else that's bigger than us that's going to try to eat it. I put this, we are not our grandfathers. I have patients say, well, my grandfather lived to be 92 and he ate lard every day. I said, well, your grandfather worked 12 hours in the field. You're an accountant. So that we can't really compare ourselves to what our grandparents did. It was a different way of life. Of course, medical technology. I mean, we have, how many of my patients here, I don't follow a diet. I mean, they have Crestor, they have cholesterol medicine, they have all these medicines. We can put stents in a heart where in the past you died. We can cure some cancers where in the past you died. So medical technology has come such a long way. Also transportation technology, not many of us have to walk to go anywhere. We always have a form of transportation. The biggest problem of all of this is our body as programmed has no idea this is going on. In our brain thinks it's 10,000 years ago. So when you got in front of that antelope, what did you do? You didn't know when you were going to get to eat again, so what did you do? You ate until you couldn't possibly move. That's the feast and famine. Our mind thinks we're still there, but we can go right down the road and get whatever type of food we want. And putting those two together has kind of gotten us where we are today. Human body is designed to hold on to calories like we talked about. When people say, I'm going to die, I'm just not going to eat. You are fighting your body's own mechanism of action, and your body has been this way for 10,000 years plus. You will lose. You cannot fight this. You have to learn to work with it. Of course, we live in the 21st century. Stress, fast food, trying to balance everyday life. It can all get to us. This is a very busy but very powerful slide, and once I go through this, I want to see this is how, and my wife and I, we related the same way. The day goes and you're hungry, so what do? You're going to eat a big meal. So what's going to happen to your glucose level in your blood? That's the blue line. It shoots way up there. Well, now how do you feel now that you eat a meal? Full. Your body is going to respond to this glucose. That glucose cannot float in your blood forever. Your body has to do something with it. Your body will secrete insulin. Insulin goes in the blood, takes all those glucose cells and pushes them into cells. That's everybody who can have it that wants it. And once everybody's full, after it's all said and done, it becomes fat. Well, now look what your blood sugar does, drops down. So now, you know how when you get that craving for that chocolate bar about an hour after you eat, this isn't just a craving, this is where it's coming from. That's what I tell my clients. I say, here's your cravings down here. This is where that craving is. Partially, which we get to more about on what is added in some of the food today to make your brain have cravings, which we'll get into throughout the program. So you're feeling bad, so I'm going to eat another big meal, and it goes up. Well, here comes the body again. Here's some insulin. It has to go somewhere, and it repeats. Oh, everything that uses it, okay, whatever's left over, fat storage. And that's why people say, well, I'm fat-free. Why am I still gaining weight? Well, it's the same thing. And this goes on and on. As time goes on, these glucose levels come up. Your body shoots insulin. Your body stops. Your body is not as sensitive to that insulin. It's used to it. So what does the body do? It produces more and more and more. And over time, and we've all heard the term insulin resistance in diabetes. So your body has to keep producing more. Now, to say everybody who is overweight will get diabetes, no, that's not the case. But it shows you how the pathway is the same. And of course, the solution is what we do, Take Shape for Life. It is a two-part. Take Shape for Life is our program. It's our company that was designed by a critical care physician, Dr. Anderson. It uses 3 comprehensive plans. One, and I'm going to go into each one of these. These are the 3 components as what makes this program successful and what you cannot get other places on this. Is the 5-in-1, your habits of health, and of course, your health coach. Talking about the 5-in-1. Why do we use Medifast? And this is what I tell people: who has time to cook 6 meals a day? And especially as busy as people are nowadays, nobody has time. So we came up with this program. This is how you eat. This is what you do. Well, how do we expect clients to follow this? Who can do this, working 40, 50 hours a week? So we had to incorporate a meal replacement, and we chose Medifast. It's been around for over 30 years, recommended by over 20,000 doctors since 1980. Major clinical trials at major universities. Dr. Wayne Anderson, he founded Take Shape for Life. He was a critical care physician, and in a sense, this is how this whole program started. He was just like us. He got tired of seeing this, like they talked about. We look at health kind of people falling off the shelf. We pick them up, we fix them up, and we put them right on the edge of the shelf again. Well, what's going to eventually happen? Then we look at this as kind of our way to get you to the back of the shelf. And that's kind of what his vision was. It is medically formulated. The balance fits our program. Dr. Anderson is on the board at Medifast, so he makes sure that it fits our program. We talk about having meal replacement. It gives you an initial quick weight loss as a motivational catalyst. And I'm going to kind of go into how we look at that. Of course, who can prepare 6 meals a day? Keep this in mind at the bottom. It does not have to be permanent. And we'll get into that a little bit later. We talk about what gets you going. If a client comes in and has to lose, I'm going to throw a number out there, 150 pounds. I know that sounds like a lot, but I have a client who's hitting the 150-pound mark. And if I tell him, I want you to lose 1 pound a week, he's going to look at me and start doing some math and say, you know what, this is kind of what's going to motivation to drive him. So we look at it, we always look at it in relation to an airplane. How much energy does it take to actually get where you're going, get off the runway and get up there? That quick weight, that initial weight loss, you're feeling good, you're going through all these glycogen stores, all these fat reserves, you're feeling good, that's your motivation. We're trying to get you up there. After your motivation after we get you motivated and up there, motivation will only keep you so far. It's got to become habit, and habit is what keeps you right here. And once we get you here, it's a lot easier for you to stay right here. Imagine having to constantly take off indefinitely. So the faster we get you up here, make it habit. Habit makes it second routine and you don't think about it. And that's our ultimate goal for this. And this is a big question. What makes us different? Like Nikki said, how many products have y'all seen on TV? One is physician driven. You can go to pretty much all the physicians' offices that we have that put this program into effect. They have full thing in it. It's approved by the FDA. We have intense research. This isn't just something, and you will hear, how many times have you heard on TV where they have studies that show that, well, they won't tell you exactly what these studies are about. Anybody can do a study. For to have a study, you have to have certain criteria. So we have intense research, Johns Hopkins, medical studies backing what we do. It's highly individualized. Just for example, I have a coach that works with me. Her client, very overweight, loves barbecue sauce. He has large amounts of barbecue sauce on the plan. No. Well, he says, look, I can't do this. He said, I need to have more barbecue sauce than that. So she works with him and she tweaks what she needs to, because in the end, she's right. He's a lot better off than where he is. Whereas now, she's able to come down that he doesn't need it anymore. So it's individualized. I say that because when people get on it, the last thing you want somebody to do is say, oh, this isn't for me, this doesn't work for me. That's where a health coach comes in, like Nikki, that you have access to. Not a computer, not an email. You can say, look, this is what's going on, I need help. And then we adjust it to each individual. Free health coaching. Our services, Nikki's services, Dr. Lecky's services, does not cost you a dime. People can go to medifast.com and get the same product. However, they pay the same amount as you. They do not get the health coaching. They don't get the program. They don't get the support. They get none of that, and they pay the exact same. So I like to stress that by going through the program with your own health coach, all it can do is help you. And it can only, remember, 85% of diets with no support fail. So being that this doesn't cost you anything, you put that into account on that statistic, it's pretty impressive. And we always promote long-term solutions. This isn't a short-term fix. Our goal is not to have somebody hurry up, lose their weight, and gone. Otherwise, you will be right back to where you were before. So we're always looking long-term. That is the supplement portion. Here's what the lean and green portion. You're allowed 5 in 1, 6 times a day. 5 supplements, over 70 of them to choose from, and 1 lean and green meal. That's a total of 6 a day. There's a hidden education in this. It's kind of blurry, that's the best I could get it, but on this program you are pretty much allowed to have any meat you want, as long as it's not fried and not soaked in butter, but seafood is on there, ground beef, steak. People are amazed that they can actually have steak, but this teaches you, you don't need a 22-ounce rib to be considered a steak. So there's an education in this. It gives you 3 options. I tell all my clients who need a food scale, if you can't look at something and tell how much is it, if you don't have that knowledge, how can you know what to pick out? Very simple, you pick out your lean, you pick out 3 servings of your green. Certain vegetables, exactly how much, it spells it all out for you. What I mean by this, by hidden education, me and Nikki decided when we started the program we weren't going to go eat out. Let's face it, eating out is tough. You order a chicken breast at a lot of restaurants, and by the time they're finished with it, it's not the healthiest thing by the time all the butter and salt and everything else is put on it. So we decided we are going to not eat out for this amount of time. But we finally went and eat out, and it was really an eye-opener. I watched her pick a lean and green off the menu, and she didn't even realize she did it. And that's when it really hit me, like there's a hidden education in this. You don't even realize what you're learning, because it's easy. You go home, you have to choose one of these, 3 of these, and that's it. But then when the time comes and you don't have this in front of you, and you don't have a food scale in front of you, you have it up here, you have that tool, it just comes. And you don't even realize it comes. And that's what we call habit. That's where we want to be. You do get extras. We do have optional snacks, lists of them for if you get too hungry. You do get all your healthy fats in. We make sure of that because you need it for your fat-soluble vitamins, gallbladder function, hair health. So you do get all of your fat-soluble vitamins in. Remember, this is all medically formulated. This is pretty much a snapshot of what we do, what your journey is. You look how you are at the beginning, calories in real high, calories out low. And what we do, we flip them. And as we flip them and you get your healthy weight, now we start your transition. This is a critical point when people say, I've lost all my weight, so guess what? It's time to go out and eat. Well, what's going to happen? You're going to gain it back. Your body is very smart. Specific transition phase. The ultimate comes at the end, where we just call maintenance. And this is where we want to get you. So you look where you were at the beginning and where you are in the end. And the program talks about initiation of exercise and little things you can do throughout the day that can help get you on this road. But our ultimate goal is at the end, right here at maintenance. So now, you remember what we were before? This is what you are in phase 1 when you're on the plan. The PCMR, portion control meal replacement. You're doing 5 of them a day, and there's your lean and green meal. Look at what these glucose levels and insulin levels do now. Remember where you were before. So you don't get those deep crashes and those deep spikes. So what goes away? You don't crave that Hershey bar about an hour after you ate supper. You don't get those cravings. The reason I put this right here, because a lot of people say, look, I don't want to be on this for the rest of my life. And this is what we try to say, MetaFast is a tool that we use in our program. It is a possibility if you choose to get completely off of it once we get you back to where you need to be. So now you look here, compare this to the first